Okay, small news just in. Um, God's like in a time of He's exposing, like the kind of thought contagions that we've been exposed to. He's always fervent with you reading the Bible because the truth sets you free. And He's dropped to me that this is the reason why we're bound up in misery. It's because of our thinking, because we don't quite know what's going on. I've got like an eye crunch. With ourselves, like we've been bound up in these places spiritually, and like once we know what's been going on in this giant matrix, that will actually set us free from a lot of the thinking we've been bound into, that keeps us captive. So like try and read the word if you can, the Bible, but like obviously the prophets are the ones that fill in the blank spaces, and if you're armed with the word, you'll know the lawyers from the like the snakes from the ones that tell the truth. So almost always should be there with that book, because like that's the biggest training that you have in humankind, and and coming across people that don't mean you well, spiritual stuff. It's very, very, very powerful book. You don't have to read it all in one go. You don't have to read it from beginning to last. Just make it part of your daily routine, probably when you're washing up 10 minutes. But that book is so important to our thinking. You don't see anything on the surface. I know with my faith journey, I kind of cling to the meat of the word later on, like when you're like kind of a sort of newbie reader to the Bible, you kind of read it in your own strength, and or you don't understand it at all, but the meat of the word actually follows on the more fervent you get into it. But you don't have to be that close neither, because like that can be a dangerous place, as well as like to just casually read and discuss it and mull over it, even if you just have like a paragraph a month or something. It's better for you to chew on that word slowly, and like it'll make you aware. Like I was starting to see things in the media, particularly like Tony Blair and his language, of like kind of this anti-humanity talk, like, and you start recognising these snakes, and like where they're sourced from. So like it saves your life. So it's worth reading, even if it's a paragraph a month. You don't have to be like anal and crazy about it. You can read it from the last to the beginning, or the middle to the end. It still says the same message. It just comes in various forms and like various types of situations and stuff. Like that thing's coming to mind where God, suggested to this man, I don't know if it's Jose, to marry a prostitute. I mean, how odd is that? Like to actually marry someone who's going to constantly crap on you, sexually. Like God works in very mysterious ways, but like God then plonks the meat down on it, the spiritual meaning, and then you get it then. And it is moral, like its ultimate ending is moral, even though it's in an immoral, strange circumstance. And I think like God and Satan are like having this chess game, like he says, he's having it with himself, this chess game, because he thinks that he's a challenge to God. But like it always comes back round. Like God works in mysterious ways that you don't know what's going on. Like he has to do that so that Satan doesn't know the end result, so he can destroy it. Like he kind of works in a defragmentation way. I mean, we don't know how the defragmentation works, but it's there putting things right in a very like odd, crunchy way. Like so, like he can work through madness. God can. In fact, like God tells me his humour is like madness. Like it has to be that way because he has to remain mysterious and from this other place. Like his creation cannot work him out at all, because like his thoughts are higher than ours.